Hey everybody in YouTube land. So this is going to be a continuation of my guide series looking at how to maximize your output performance with Rashid. And we're going to be moving, now that we've done mid-screen pressure and corner carry, we're going to be looking at what some of the stuff you can do moving into the corner to sort of optimize Rashid and to put yourself in the best position either to win your casual matches or Battle Hub or, custom room, or if you're playing ranked. So, one of the things that comes up in the corner is that obviously, drive impact is an important part of this game in terms of stunning people in the corner, giving you a wall splat and giving you a free combo. Here's the thing. People are always worried about getting predictable with it because people are looking for that DI. They're scared as hell of that DI in the corner, so people will be jumping, they'll be trying to jump out, they'll be using DI themselves, they'll be using parry, they'll try and perfect parry it, and so you don't want to be sort of ham-fisted in the way that you use DI in the corner. You want to maximize your chance of landing it, and the way to do that is to work on your meaty DI setup so that it's not just like a blunt instrument or tool, but you're actually doing it in a thoughtful way to maximize your chance of landing what you're trying to do. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be taking a look at different meaty DI setups from, I guess I would say, least ideal, still pretty good, a lot of the ones I'm going to start with, to most ideal. And so I think that the ones that are the most ideal, if you're playing short sets, you really want to focus on those. And for the ones that are not quite as ideal but still really good, if you're playing deeper sets with somebody and you want to draw further from, in your in your toolkit, right? You'd want to be able to know what these other meaty DI setups are too, because DI is an important part of the game. It was created to be part of the game. It was meant to be used in the game, but if you don't use it well, then it ends up being sort of lame and gimmicky, and hokey and spammy and so on. So yeah, we'll be looking at these. When we look at these setups, every one of these is either hits and the person has 0 frames basically to react, or maybe at most like 1. And so what that basically means with all these setups is I'm sort of giving away the pearls here and giving away the store. These are all unreactable. You will not react to these meaty DIs in the corner. The only way that somebody's going to stop them is if they see the setup and then they recognize the setup because they know what you're doing, which the vast majority of players aren't going to know what that is if they don't play Rashid. Or if they're just sort of guessing and they think that you're going to do a DI and they're just predicting, but it's just based on a guess. And in that situation, obviously there's nothing you can do to stop that, but these are non-reactable. You don't have enough time in 1/60th of a second or 0/60ths or even 2/60ths for if you were off an execution by a frame or something. Like, people don't have enough time to react to these. So these are incredibly powerful tools. You don't want to overdo it. You want to use them. You don't want to spam them. So if you DI someone in the corner and then you do a meaty DI setup after that, and then you try to do another one on top of it, because these things can be looped into each other. Obviously, that's spammy, and you want to avoid that kind of stuff. So you want to use these things wisely and carefully, and hopefully this video is useful. Okay, so I was mentioning, in order to be subtle and to maximize your likelihood of landing the DI in the corner, to set up a meaty DI after, is the way that you can do this is that you can sneak it in as a cancelable DI after another button or sequence, and there's a lot of different ways to do that. So we're going to look at some of those right here. So one way you can do this, probably the easiest way of all, is to just set it up, although it is manually timed, as you can see here. You just have to give it the slightest amount of time, like the tiniest little bit of walk after your throw will make it a manually timed meaty DI after throw. So this one's very effective. It gives the other player almost no time to react. And then you can go into one of your setups that I'm going to show you in a minute here. That's a good one. Another good one is you could go from throw into run into something as simple as a crouching medium punch, which is plus, and then cancel that into a DI, which gives the opponent very little time to react there too. And that would be a good setup for the meaty DI that's coming next. Yet another thing you could do is do a throw into run and then stop running into a target combo, and target combo cancels into drive impact as well. So, any of these will really work if it's a fast cancel into a drive impact, or at least they have a better likelihood of working than you just sort of like randomly standing near the corner with the other person in the corner and then just trying to do the drive impact, which gives them all day to jump. You don't want that to happen. All of these help you avoid that for your setup. Another one could be if you're doing a combo that finishes in a medium mixer, you can go into the heavy cyclone after, as you see here, and then the heavy cyclone can cancel into a DI. And so that's a lot of pressure, and it's a bunch of buttons. Well, it's a bunch of hits, actually, that even if they block, right, you can cancel it right into the DI. So this one's actually pretty good, too. You can finish a combo with a heavy mixer. And then you could, if the opponent has a character that doesn't have an EXDP, right? If it's like a Zangief or something, or Kimberly or whatever, like, and you're not afraid of getting EXDP'd on Wake Up, like you would with a Ryu Ken's, Guile or whatever, Akuma. And you can actually do a neutral jump after the heavy mixer, and then forward medium punch, cancel into the DI. It's another good one. Basically, what you're trying to do with all of these is trick somebody into thinking you're doing other stuff, and then cancel it into the DI. So these are really good setups overall for, the meaty DI setup that would be the next one after. Okay, one last one, as you can see here, would be the throw into run, standing light kick. It's actually your fastest button there, really. And then that cancels into DI too. So that you have a good chance of landing it after that as well. Okay, this bit of setup and trickery here is really, really good if you want to maximize your chance of setting up the DI and then the DI loop. What you can do mid-screen is do your target combo into the X Cyclone for your corner carry, into the run kicks, and finish up your combo with the heavy Cyclone. And what you do from there is you would do, as you see, a frame kill crouching medium kick. And what that does is it means that you're going to be able to do a heavy punch, meaty, and the heavy punch meaty is going to set up your DI in a very special way here. As you can see here, so you take them to the corner, right? Finish up your combo with the heavy mixer, you do the crouching medium kick, frame kill, and then you do the heavy punch, and you cancel into the DI. What's so good about that? We're going to see here in a second, and then whatever combo you want after, obviously. Why is that so good, the heavy punch into DI? Well, if you take your setup and you put the dummy on wake up reversal, and you put it on, as we're doing here, jump forward. This is usually what people want to do in the corner, right? They don't want to get DI'd in the corner. They want to jump out of it. You're not going to jump out of it if the heavy punch is meaty, right? And if the heavy punch can be canceled into a DI, what's so great about that is that, let's say they block the heavy punch. The heavy punch has such a long setup and block stun, even if they block it, that they're not jumping out after. They could jump out after some of this other stuff, like a crouching medium or a target combo or a forward medium punch, drive cancel into a DI. They could try to jump out of that stuff because it's a quick, fast button. But if you're hitting them with a meaty, heavy punch into a DI, they are not jumping out of that. So they might be able to counter DI you if they expect the DI is coming, or maybe they could, do something else. They could EX you or something, EX DP or something if they have it. But they're not jumping out of the heavy punch meaty. So that's something that I do like to rely on sometimes, not too much because you can become predictable. But if you do the heavy punch as a meaty, you could manually time it if you want, if you get really good at that, or you could do it as an auto-timed as I just showed you. But if you can use that sometimes, right, it can be very effective as a setup for a meaty DI into a combo. Okay, so now we're just going to start getting into some of the interesting actual meaty DI setups. If you can get the original setup, right, with whatever one of the ones I was showing you a second ago, or maybe any other one you pick out where you've got cancelable normals that can be canceled into the DI, and then you want to do the setup for your meaty DI. So we're going to be getting into some of the really good meaty DIs that Rashid has here, and then we'll do the really great ones after. What separates these is the amount of resources you have to spend to set up the meaty DI. Obviously, it's more optimal to have less bar setting up a DI a meaty DI than to spend more. So, here's one really good one. Say you get the DI, right? Based on those setups I was showing you a second ago. Say you get it, you land it right there, right? Like that. One really good setup is to do it into the target combo, as you can see there, into the EX Cyclone, and then you push forward in medium punch, and you cancel that into the medium Cyclone. And after you do the medium Cyclone, you immediately sort of mash back and kick to set up him going into the aerial motion there, right? But you cancel that too by pushing kick again. So that's what I meant by mashing. You're going to push the back and kick to set up the motion, but you're going to push back and kick again. You're going to mash back and kick because it sets up him sort of throwing himself into the air, but it also sets up him stopping that. And so what you'll end up getting there, as you can see here, is you're going to be plus 25. Now, a DI, it takes 26 frames to start up. So the opponent only has one frame here to react. In other words, it's an unreactable meaty DI. They are not going to see this within one frame of you executing it and it landing and be able to react to that in 1/60th of a second. It's just not going to happen. And most people don't know about this meaty DI setup, so it's a really good one. It's just not quite as good as some others because it requires the EX Cyclone in it. So if we watch this again one more time, you got the target combo, EX Cyclone, forward medium punch, medium Cyclone, back and kick stuff into the DI. That second DI is your meaty DI, right? So, right there. Then you can do whatever combo you want after that. All right, this one is a variation off of the one I just showed you. It's really not too different. It's just playing around a little bit on the margins. I wouldn't list it as a separate meaty DI, but it's sort of similar. You can go and let's say you land your DI, right, based on whatever setup you did that I was showing you earlier. What you would do here with this one is you would do the target combo again into the EX Cyclone. But you could also do a light Cyclone after, and then just go directly into the back and kick mashing, and you're going to be, again, 25 frames advantage there. And then the opponent only has one frame to react there for your meaty DI. So DI, target combo, EX Cyclone, and then a light Cyclone after, and then the back and kick mashing into the DI. And that's a meaty DI there with whatever combo you want after. A second really good meaty DI setup that doesn't require any other buttons in advance of the DI. Well, it does. It requires a setup, but you could just do like a normal combo that's corner carry. So this one would be like whatever corner carry combo you want to do. Let's say you do target combo into EX Cyclone. You do the run kicks. And you finish with a heavy mixer, right? From there, you can see here, you're plus 35. I've done this before in other tutorials where I mentioned that one of the things you can do here is you can do, as you're going to see at the end here, that gives you enough time to plus 35 to do a drive rush into a meaty DI, and they're not going to be able to react. They've got like one frame there to react at the end. It's like 0 frames actually. They got to react on they can push a button. They could push counter DI on the very last frame, as you're doing the DI and it's making contact. So in other words, they have 0 time to react. It's an unreactable meaty DI unless they know the setup. And that's why this one's not quite as good as some of the other ones I'm going to go into. It's good, but it's not quite as good because it requires what? It requires a drive rush, which is 1 bar, into the DI, which is 2 bars, so it's expensive. And people can see the setup coming, so if they know a drive rush could be into a DI, they could potentially parry here or counter DI. But, then again, people don't know for sure because you could be drive rushing into a button or something or an attack or into a combo. So this is still pretty good. I just don't like it quite as much as some of the ones I'm going to show you because it requires, in addition to the corner carry combo, it requires 2 additional bars to set it up, but still very good. Here's another really nasty, good, meaty DI setup. It's not quite as good as some of the top tier ones that I'm going to show you in a little bit because it requires a lot of bar, but it is still pretty nasty. If you got them in the corner and you land a DI, however you want to land that, you can do heavy punch into heavy Cyclone, as you see there, into heavy mixer, into a heavy sky high, into a down and heavy punch. As you can see at the bottom here, you're plus 25 frame advantage. That gives them 1 frame of reaction time for a 26 frame startup DI. So that's a pretty nasty setup as well. I don't like it as much as others, as I mentioned, because you got to spend, you got to get the DI first, right? And then you got to do an EX mixer, and then you got to do an EX. Well, you got to do the DI, and then the EX cyclone, and then the EX mixer. And that's quite a bit of bar. And then you've got to do another DI at the end, which is more bar. So this is the kind of combo that you probably don't want to do unless you've got a lot of bars stored up and the person has like half of their health bar or less. And so you're not worried about burning out or something like that or coming close to it. And you're just using your resources to close out a round. This one's pretty good. I do recommend it. And whatever combo you want to do after that second meaty DI. Here's another really good meaty DI setup that I just discovered recently. If you manage to get a counter DI against your opponent, right, and they're stunned, you can do the jumping neutral jump heavy kick into standing heavy kick. This is actually optimal punish damage off a counter DI, and then you can juggle into the forward medium punch right before they land. You cancel that into the light eagle spike, and after you do the light eagle spike, there's actually a really good meaty setup here where you can just drive rush. Well, what this does, before I even get into that, this leaves you at plus 35. What's plus 35 enough to do on a counter DI? You do your juggle combo, which is worth around 30% damage, drive rush, DI. That's going to hit meaty. They're not going to have really basically any frames. I think it's a 0 frame reaction time. They ain't responding to this. They're not reacting to this. If somebody counter DIs you on this, it's just because they guessed, or if they parried it or something. Like there is no reaction time on this, or maybe they knew because they play Rashid, but I don't think even then, because I don't see Rashid's doing this. So the drive rush into DI off of the optimal juggle combo off of a counter DI, which is what you just saw. It's actually really good. Still second tier though, because you're using the bar to get the counter DI, and then you're using 2 more bars to get the meaty DI at the end. On the second tier, really good meaty DIs, if you manage to get that first DI, what you can do after that, so you can do a drive rush into crouching medium punch, into, as you saw there, a crouching medium kick, which is a combo, and then you can cancel that crouching medium kick into another DI. They haven't even landed at that point. Like, I don't even count the frames here because it's just an automatic DI. Like, there's no reaction to this, really. Like, they haven't even landed, and you're hitting them with the final. They barely even landed, and you're hitting them with the final hit, the meaty DI. The reason why this one is not quite as good as some of the first tier ones is, again, because after you hit them with that first DI, whatever setup you use to get to the first DI, you have to use drive rush here, which is meter, to get to the crouching medium punch, to get to the crouching medium kick after, to get into the meaty DI at the end. So this ends up requiring 3 bars for setup. For something that really doesn't get as good a damage on the combo setup for the meaty DI, but it's still not bad. It's still actually pretty good because there's very little time for them to respond to this. They're not going to really respond to it at all, and it does look pretty cool. And so it's decent. It's a decent to pretty good meaty DI setup. Of course, you can do whatever combo you want after. We are now getting into first tier meaty DI setups. This is the kind of stuff, if you're running a short set in ranked and you really want to win those matchups, those sets, you want to do something that requires the least amount of bar to set up the meaty DI. And so we're going to look at some of those now. One really good one is, like, if you've got your corner combo, whatever it is, in this case, let's say a target combo into EX cyclone, run kicks, and what you see at the end there, this is your frame kill. Like, you don't actually finish the corner the corner carry combo. You don't finish it. Instead of doing a medium mixer at the end here or a heavy mixer, you do a frame kill for a crouching medium kick. What that does is it leaves you plus 25 frame advantage. Again, that's 1 frame of reaction time for a 26 frame startup DI. I like this one a lot because in terms of the actual setup for the meaty DI, there is no additional meter after you've done your corner carry combo. Like, that's to get you to the corner, but the actual setup for the meaty DI just requires you to end your combo a little bit early, do the crouching medium kick, and go into the meaty DI after. So I think this is really good because once you take somebody to the corner with this, they're still sort of reeling from you taking them to the corner. And so when you do the crouching medium kick, if they don't recognize that that's a meaty DI setup, they're just not going to know what you're doing, and it's going to be too late by the time they know what it is when you actually hit the DI there. Because again, they only have one frame to react to what you're doing, and that's just not enough time for any human to react. So here's what that whole setup would look like. You do the target combo, EX, cyclone, run kicks, crouching medium kick, frame kill, into the meaty DI, and whatever combo you want after. Okay, as a first tier meaty DI setup, I really like this one because it's just a really funky, stylish combo, and it's a perfect setup for a meaty DI. You would do whatever setup you're going to do. Let's say it's a drive rush, crouching light kick, or whatever other setup that gets you to the target combo, right? It could be metered, it could be non-metered, however you want to get there. You have to do the target combo into the EX cyclone, and then you push back and kick to shoot Rashid forward, and you're going to hit in the air with the medium punch, and then you're going to do the light sky high, and then you're going to finish with the down and heavy punch. And what you'll notice here is that it leaves you plus 26 on your frame advantage. That's exactly enough to have a 0 frame reaction time for a meaty DI. In other words, they cannot react to this. It's unreactable. They're not going to counter DI in reaction. The only way they're going to counter DI is if they are a Rashid player. Because only Rashid players know this weird-ass, snazzy, cool, stylish combo, and they know that it goes into a DI, and maybe even, in that case, maybe they don't know, because there's other things you can do after this combo. You can do a crouching medium punch into throw, and that's meaty. So even then, they've sort of got to guess what's the person going to do? Are they going to push a button and set up for throw, or are they going to push that DI? It's still a guess on the part of the Rashid. This is truly unreactable, and I almost never, ever, ever miss on this DI. It's that good. It's so good because it's so obscure, and it has 0 frame reaction time. So this is what it would look like if you did it, into the actual DI. Seamless, right? They barely even really recovered. You've taken them to the corner, they're really not ready for the DI, and then you can do it into whatever combo you want to do. Good stuff. This is another really awesome first tier meaty DI setup for corner carry. If you were to, however you want to get to your target combo, it could be drive rush crouching medium kick, as I'm doing here. You want to get to that target combo. After the target combo, this one's so great because it doesn't require meter for the corner carry. You just go into the regular heavy cyclone, and then you push back and kick, and you push heavy kick to finish with the heavy kick finisher. And so after that, you whiff a crouching medium kick, as you can see there, and that will leave you plus 25. They have 1 frame reaction time here to stop the DI. In other words, it ain't happening. And so I really like this one because it doesn't require a lot of meter. It takes them to the corner. It's a quick one. It really sets up the DI really well, as you can see again here. The target combo into heavy cyclone, into back and heavy kick, into crouching medium kick frame kill, into DI. And then whatever combo you want after. Great stuff. Second to last meaty DI setup. This one's really, really good. A friend of mine who plays Rashid, Master Doty, showed me this setup. It's a little awkward, but it's actually still really good. So what you're going to do here is you're going to, however you get your drive impact, right? You're going to do the drive impact into not a target combo, but you're going to do a staggered little space between them. The medium punch into the separate heavy kick. Then you're going to go into the light mixer as the juggle, and do 1 more light mixer after. So to see that again, you got drive impact, medium punch, heavy kick, light mixer, light mixer. Now you might say, why would you do a second light mixer and only 1 hit? Because it's going to set up your recovery, their recovery, and it's going to put you in a position after their recovery to do a meaty DI there. light mixer, second light mixer. That leaves you plus 26. Again, it's really good because there is a 0 frame reaction time for them to be able to react to the DI. I remember Doty did this on me, and I said to him in the match, "What the hell did you just do? Like, what the hell was that?" And he showed me in the training room, and I saw it, and I was like, "That's unreactable." Talk about some BS, like, right, some depraved Rashid BS. Like, you're not reacting to that, and I did not react to it in the match. I didn't even know what it was. As somebody who's been a Rashid player for 2 years now, like, I didn't even know what that was. The only weakness to this is that sometimes when you knock somebody down with a DI in the corner and you try to do a second light mixer, the game gets a little finicky and weird, and like the second light mixer doesn't always land. So this isn't perfect. Like, every once in a while, the game sort of screws you out of this one. But overwhelmingly, the vast majority of the time that you do this, it's going to work, and it's going to light them up. So this is a really, really good top tier meaty DI setup that you should abuse for sure in ranked. And by the way, the previous one I was just showing you, the light mixer into light mixer, is so great because it doesn't require additional bar to set up your meaty DI. So that's why it's so good. Okay, so now we're going to move into the very last setup. This is one I just discovered, so I guess you would say I invented it. It's a Professor DiMaggio Express original. It's probably my favorite of all of them. I like it even more than the medium or than the light mixer into light mixer setup, because every once in a while that one whiffs on the second light mixer and then you don't get your meaty DI. This one, that's not going to happen. This is maybe the best meaty DI setup he's got. Outside of just going straight into a meaty DI off of throw, like if you've already got him in to do a DI and you're looking to do a DI loop, this is probably the best one there is in my opinion. So what is it? However you get to the DI, right? However you get to that, you get it. And then you're going to do a target combo, medium punch, heavy kick, into a heavy cyclone. After the heavy cyclone, you're going to whiff for your frame kill, your crouching medium punch. What's that's going to do? It's going to leave you plus 25. This one, only 1 frame reaction time, which it means unreactable. And then after that, you would go into the actual DI. So target combo, heavy cyclone, good damage on that, by the way. Crouching medium punch into DI. Whatever combo you want after to finish it up. So I really hope this guide was useful. Keep a lookout for more advanced Rashid guides in the future. I'm going to be spending a lot of time talking about techniques, strategies for how to abuse your opponent in the corner with Rashid. It's really his strongest stuff, everything that he gets in the corner, because his mid-screen game with pokes and neutral is just really not that great compared to other characters who are designed better to do that. He's going to get most of his damage on people in the corner. So all types of Rashid shenanigans and mix-ups, that's where I'm going to be moving in the future from this point forward. We're going to be looking at all different ways to abuse Rashid. So, yeah, the meaty DI setups, I think, are essential. You don't want to overdo this stuff, as I mentioned before, but it is really devastating and damaging if you don't overdo it. So if you are just doing one meaty DI off of a corner carry combo, that's a good way to not abuse it. Or I think at most, if you're doing a ranked match, you probably don't want to do more than like a meaty DI, however you get to that. And then one of the setups I showed you into a meaty DI loop. Definitely not more than 2. If you start doing more than 2 and you loop over and over, you're getting really greedy, and people are just going to know, and they're just going to counter DI you. So that's the kind of stuff you could have some fun with in like training room or battle hub or casual matches or custom room, but I wouldn't suggest doing more than a DI loop at most with 2 DIs in it if you're playing ranked, because that's just the kind of greedy stuff that it's going to get you it's going to get you beat. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you are not subscribed and you want to be subscribed, feel free to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on the next video.